Hey, what's up, guys? It's Bakes here, and thank you for joining me for another one of my random horror reviews. Today's movie is one that I didn't grab off the shelf for any particular reason. Like, I really decided to live up to the random horror review title of these videos. I saw it on my shelf and went, you know what? I don't remember this one too well. So today's movie is from 2008, and it is titled The Haunting of Molly Hartley. So I had seen this one before, but kind of remembered that it wasn't really that great. But I was really surprised how little I remembered of the plot and that stuff going on. So before we get into my thoughts of this movie, let's quickly run into the plot for this one. So we have our main character Molly, who is having a fresh start with her dad. As in, I think they've moved to a new town and whatever. She's going to a new school. Her history is that I think it was like a year ago or something like that. Her mum tried to kill her, like she stabbed her in the chest. Obviously, Molly survived, and now her mum is locked up, and she's trying to have a fresh start. However, Molly is getting haunted by these visions of her mum coming back and some other weird shit going on. And that's pretty much all I can really give away, because everything else starts to go into a little bit of where the movie's headed and stuff. So if you want to go into this one fresh, I guess I should just leave it there. And yeah, let's get into my thoughts of 2008's The Haunting of Molly Hartley. So to be honest, this movie was a rough rewatch for myself. Not entirely the movie's fault. I watched this in the morning after a big night out, and to be honest, I was feeling pretty tired and pretty hungover. Not to the point where I wasn't able to follow what was going on or comprehend what I was watching. I just really was pretty tired. So this movie took way longer to get through than what it probably should have, because I kept falling asleep and then rewinding it back to where I remembered I was up to. Honestly, it probably made the movie's runtime go at least like 15-20 minutes longer, like minimum. Now, with that being said, as an outside factor, I just wanted to quickly specify that it also probably didn't help with my engagement when this movie is kind of a bit stale, like pretty bland, if I'm being honest. Every now and then it has some interesting moments that drew me in, but overall everything seemed to lack character and flavour, if that makes sense. This movie to me kind of felt like I was watching a made for TV daytime movie, if that makes sense. It just sort of had that vibe to me. And that's probably the best way I can describe it, because overall this movie just felt like kind of bland and kind of stale. So moving on from my engagement with this movie, the movie also felt like it was pushing deeply with religious undertones, which religion just naturally plays into a story like this one, and the type of movie that it is. But at points, and maybe it's just me, who is someone that doesn't have a deep perspective on religion, or doesn't really think about it much, if I'm being honest. It kind of felt like it was about to run into like a commercial on the church, or spit out a pamphlet or booklet on the church towards me. I don't know, it just sort of had that feel about it. It was definitely pushing like religion out at me. I don't know, maybe it was just me, like I said. Which again, I'm not sure if this is the best way to describe it, but it sort of added to it giving sort of daytime movie sort of feels. The acting in this one was kind of mixed. Nobody gave a horrid performance, but there was definitely people who were better than others. The lead in this movie is played by Haley Bennett, which it feels like it's been forever since I've seen her in something. Maybe I have and just, didn't click in my mind. But when her name came up in the opening credits, I was like, oh, Haley Bennett. And I was just actually having trouble putting a face to the name. Like I said, I was pretty tired and hungover anyway, so I didn't care to think about it too much. But either way, I feel like she did a fairly good job leading this movie, at least. Sort of continuing on with the movie's feels a little bit now, because like I've said so many times, it sort of felt daytime television movie to me. But then there were moments where shit actually got a lot darker, and the subject matter got a bit more intense, and everything sort of just picked up a little bit. And then suddenly it would have like a mid 2000s pop song transition and carry on with like a teen movie vibe for a little while, which I'm guessing was probably more so the movie being a product of its time, because that was something that wasn't uncommon in horror movies of the early slash mid 2000s. But the switches did feel pretty jarring, and it was something that I did notice and wanted to bring up. I kind of don't have much else to say with this one. And oddly, because I've been speaking more so in a negative tone about this movie, it actually isn't that bad. It's just kind of stale. Definitely not as scary as what maybe the title sounds, you know, The Haunting of Molly Hartley. I remember the first time I saw this movie, I was expecting something more exorcism, a bit more intense, but it's really not. And I only just seen while doing a little bit of research into this movie for this review. I always try to, you know, dig a little bit deeper than what I am just seeing on screen. But I only just realized that there's actually a sequel to this movie, which I think it's going to be one of those cases where I'll just see it if I see it. I'm not going to be really hunting, you know, a copy of that movie to go and check it out. I'll just come across it one day, I'm sure. But The Haunting of Molly Hartley from 2008, for a rating, I'm going to give it a 4.5. Like I said, it's actually not that bad. It's just a case of sort of being stale, sort of just being dry with its delivery. Like I said, it feels like one of those movies where it was on like one of those exclusive channels. You're homesick from school and you watch it and you're like, what the fuck is this? And it feels like a fever dream, you know, so many years later. It's like, did I watch that or not? It sort of has that feel to it. I don't know. I feel like from what I was reading when I was looking into the sequel and everything, people kind of like this movie. I don't know, so if you have a different opinion on The Haunting of Molly Hartley, let me know in the comments below. If you've seen the sequel, which I think is called The Exorcism of Molly Hartley, if it's any good, let me know in the comments, and then I might actually check it out sooner rather than later. But like I said, I think it'll just be a case of, you know, if I come across a copy, I'll pick it up. I don't know, but thank you for joining me for this review, guys. I appreciate it. If you've stuck around to the end, I appreciate you even more, and I'll see you for another video soon, guys. Peace.